Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Everyday Excellence. I'm your host, Todd Baldwin, and today we have Jeremy and Joy Griffin, the owners of Griffin Plumbing and their newest business, NuFlow Central Coast. Joy and Jeremy, how are you doing today?
Doing fantastic, Todd. Thank you for having us.
Yeah,
You
Todd.
bet. You
Thank
bet. Jeremy and I did a prep call, and he said Joy may be joining us, and she's here today. So, Joy, I'm glad you were able to hop on and join the fun, so to speak.
Yeah, so happy to be here.
Yeah, I know you're playing injured a little bit. Said you're fighting a little bit of a head cold. Appreciate you still hopping on and being a part of the show. I really appreciate both of you jumping on. Jeremy, when we were talking in the prep call, you told me that you were the quiet guy in the back of the class and that doing something like this pushes you out of your comfort zone. And I
Yes,
think a lot of business owners can relate to that. So, for people who don't know you yet, tell us a little bit about Griffin Plumbing in NuFlow Central Coast.
sure. Yes, Griffin Plumbing. We are a residential service plumbing company, and we've been in business for 23 years. Joy and I purchased the company from my uncle, and at the time it was called Ray Zierman Plumbing. And yeah, we've been off and running really ever since. About 8 years into the company, we decided to get strictly into service and repairs. We were doing new construction plumbing at the time, and really found doing both of those was a bit of a challenge, so we decided to pick the residential service.
Okay. And how long has NuFlow Central Coast been operating?
So NuFlow Central Coast, the company, has been operating for 3 years. Griffin Plumbing has been a certified contractor installing NuFlow products, which is cure in place pipeliners, for about 12 years.
Okay. And so 12 years. Well, NuFlow. Okay, I'll make sure I got that right. Is 3 or 12? You said 3 years?
So NuFlow Central Coast, the company is 3 years old.
Okay.
Before we started that company, we were and we were a certified contractor for installing NuFlow products.
I got you.
We wanted to start NuFlow Central Coast because we really found that it's a different business model, and we wanted to really branch out and expand the service area that we can offer that service, which is a little farther than Griffin Plumbing does.
Okay. I got you. We're going to dive into both. We'll talk a lot about the plumbing and we can dive in a little bit about the new business as well. Before we get started though, you had told me that you're not naturally the guy looking for the spotlight. So I'm just curious what made you decide to do the podcast.
Just want to push myself and get out of the comfort zone a little bit and see what happens.
I can relate to that. I had a lady working with us, Diana, for years, helping us with our own in-house personal marketing, just doing our own lead generation. And she got me to start doing videos, and that was a big push for me to get out of my comfort zone. And I still really don't like being on video or how I sound, but I've gotten a lot more used to it. And now I'm doing these podcasts, which is kind of crazy. So um, well, let's dive in. I'm curious to hear, just kind of turn back the clock because I think you had mentioned it's been a family business, goes all the way back into the 40s, right? 1940s. And, I'm just curious, what did all that family teach you early on when you dove into this plumbing space?
Gosh, man, I grew up really around it from my uncle. So I remember grade school, just being around his operation, and then junior high and high school. I was sweeping the shop and helping organize things and running with technicians. Um, and at the time, I remember thinking, I don't want to be a plumber. Absolutely not. But as I got a little older and graduated high school, I found that I really enjoyed it. I liked the responsibility that I was given, and I was fortunate enough to have somebody like him that could teach me firsthand. He was a fantastic teacher.
Okay. And so when did you make, was it after high school? You said you went right into the trade. Is that when you
Yeah,
knew, hey, I'm going to
yeah,
be a
pretty
plumbing?
pretty much. I was at the local community college, and I'm not much of a student. Didn't never quite cared for that stuff, and was delivering pizzas at the time and working for him. Yeah, I was about ready to move down to Santa Barbara City College and start the X-ray tech program, struggling to find a job to support that endeavor at the time. And he says, "You know what? Do you want to learn this trade? I'll I'll teach you." And I said yes, and that's really set me on the path. You know.
And so, Joy, have you always been involved in the business from day one?
Yes. So Jeremy and I got married pretty young. And so after the birth of our daughter, this opportunity came about, and we both have been involved since the beginning.
Okay. And what's your primary role other than probably everything? No, what as a business owner, but what now? Because you're 23 years down the road, right? So, what is your kind of main focus today as far as running the operation with your husband, Jeremy?
So I would say probably I'm like, if you were going to give me a role as CFO and then marketing as well.
Marketing as well. Okay. Cool. So, what were some of the early lessons, Jeremy, that you look back and because when you get into a business and you start running it, a lot of times you don't know what you don't know, right? So, if you look back, what are some early mistakes or lessons you learned compared to today and how things are operating?
Yeah, golly, there's been so many, but some things that really come to mind are I didn't really understand myself, my personality, and how I was, and I wear my emotions on my sleeve, good, bad, and ugly. I'm a person, so I can get heated quickly, and some mistakes with that come, with employees. Fortunately, I'm sure I've lost some really good employees there in the past and in the future, but because I didn't understand how to remove myself, walk around the block, take a deep breath, cool down, and analyze stuff and approach it from a different mindset. So learning that over time, same thing in working with customers and situations that come up. Uh, that's some big things, and then learning how to delegate. And that's one I still struggle with. Joy and I are both really working hard to do that, and we've got some fantastic members on our team now that we trust and work to delegate tasks that need to be done. Because if we're going to grow, we need to be able to do that, and we understand that.
Yeah, delegate to elevate is one of the things that we learned when we went through as a company a process called EOS, Entrepreneurial Operating System. But yeah, it's hard. I think as business owners, it is. It's our baby, and we built this thing, and it's tough to delegate. But I've also found it feels really good to delegate, especially when you have the right person that's handling those tasks. Would you agree with that, or
Absolutely.
no?
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah.
Feels good to turn over the keys and let them drive that bus for that particular, down that lane or whatnot. So you said your uncle came to you one day and basically said he needed to retire and get out of the business, correct?
Yeah, yeah. He said he was going to have a heart attack if he continued, and nobody wanted that. And so he gave me basically three options, and one of them was buy the business, which he was really grooming me to do since he offered to teach me the trade. And so we were able to secure an SBA loan and start. And we were fortunate to start running as opposed to walking, so to speak, because he had 20 years in business. He had a customer base on the service side, and at the time, I was really doing the new construction, so I had the relationship with the contractors. Uh, it was interesting though, I got my contractor's license through the state of California and thought, okay, here we go, we've arrived. It's like, no, 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 that's just the very beginning. We've got a lot to learn, a lot of lessons to learn, and we were really, I don't know, didn't know much
Pretty naive.
about business, very naive. Yes.
Well, a lot of times that's good, right? Especially when you're younger, because you're kind of that invincible stage and you don't know what you don't know. But boy, it doesn't take long to kind of wake up to like, what have I got myself into?
Yeah.
So you said you were able to buy the business, which is great. And you talked about, I guess back then you were mostly commercial, right?
Uh,
Dealing with contractors and so forth,
Yeah, we
some
were doing
homes.
custom homes. We were doing custom homes a lot, and then some commercial work as well. Little tenant improvements on the new construction side. Yeah,
You said you had gotten tired of chasing money from contractors. Was there a breaking point with that where you just said enough's enough?
yeah. There really was, and then the time I was really searching and joy too of wanting to know, hey, how do we run a business? How do we understand what the KPIs need to be? How do we know, are we making any money? Are we just losing it? What's the P&L look like? What does it mean? All that stuff. And we were really searching for those answers. And that's what led us to really join Success Group International. As I viewed that, and I would think Joy would agree too, is that was really my college education on how to run a residential service company.
So that was a big shift, and that is that when you guys decide, "Hey, we're going residential.
Yes.
Let's just shift the whole business that way?"
Yes, yeah, we jumped in with both feet, followed their business model, and I would say within 6 months, completely eliminated all new construction. Yeah.
Gotcha. So when we talked, you'd mentioned like 85% of your business is residential service,
Yes.
with the ideal customer being a homeowner.
Hmm.
So I'm curious, why is that now the right fit for Griffin Plumbing or back then?
Uh, I know people have success doing new construction, and it just wasn't for us to try to do both of them. So being able to just focus on one, the service side of things, and then specifically the residential, just felt like a right fit. Uh, I enjoy being able to go save the day for somebody and develop those relationships. Even though I'm the guy that sits in the back of the class and doesn't really like to raise my hand a whole heck of a lot. It's a good feeling when you can help somebody who's in need and take care of them.
I agree 100%. One of the biggest satisfactions I get is just helping clients with their marketing and getting real lead flow, real lead generation, seeing their business grow. It's fun. It's fun to help people, right? And to see your solutions working for them. Um, Joy, what were some early challenges for you jumping into this plumbing business and all that jazz?
Yeah, so my background, I was an ag science major in college, so opposite of running a home service company or plumbing company. And then, Jeremy and I were super blessed that we got this opportunity to take on this company, but we had no idea what we were doing, juggling two kids, answering the phones, and trying to figure out like the whole QuickBooks thing of it. But um, I
I'm
think
shaking my head because I'm right there with you, right? So, yeah. So it sounds like what did you call it? The client success or the group internet it was profit with
It
Success
was
Group
Success Group
International.
International at the time, which currently now is CertainPath.
Okay, that sounds like that was a game changer for you.
Yeah, it really was. It opened our eyes and really helped us uh, see the light, so to speak, uh, and not have to invent the wheel or rewrite the wheel. It's just really implementing and doing. Uh, yeah.
Yeah, I can relate. We've done some great training in our business, and I've done a lot over the last 20 years. Was that program, Joy, something that really helped you get a grasp of like QuickBooks and P&Ls and managing the cash flow of the business?
yeah, just to have knowledge and then also to be able to talk to other members or, people in our situation that weren't our direct competitors, but had lived through what we were living in
Sure.
currently. And then also the coaching and just the resources provided really gave us the foundation to feel confident and, like we still question some things, but just gave us confidence to be able to, okay, we're doing things right. You know?
Yeah.
Sure. Do you still have some of those contacts today that you reached
Oh,
out to earlier? Are they still
Yeah.
people you talk to on a regular basis or whenever you need bounce some things off of?
Yeah. I'm all over the country. It's
Yeah, I find it's I love talking to other people in the digital marketing space. I love talking to other business owners. When I can talk to someone in my space, I'm a big believer there's enough business for everybody. Like we can't possibly serve everybody. Especially like in digital marketing, because there's no boundaries, right? I mean, we have clients all over the country, and then we obviously have clients here in DFW, but um, I don't know the number of small to medium sized businesses in the country, but in the home service, but I know there's a bunch, and I know that we definitely couldn't handle them all. So I always find it really powerful just to be able to be open and not fear, giving up trade secrets or someone's going to, I guess, steal something from us or do us wrong. So kudos to reaching out and having that trust, right? And just talking about what you're experiencing and what are they doing, right? Because I find a lot of times when I talk to these other entrepreneurs, we really talk more about our problems than our successes. And it's like what because it's where the struggle is, right? Even with our team, sometimes we're like, we need to focus more on our wins and include that in our conversations versus just what we're struggling with or what we're trying to get better at. Does that relate to you guys, Joe?
Yeah, for
Yep.
sure. And I'm guilty of looking at negative stuff a little too much, but it is good to look and focus on the wins and high five. That's really the fun part of it, right? And
Sure.
when we really step back and take a look, we got a lot more wins than losses. That's fantastic. And to
That's a
expand,
great point because I think most businesses do, especially ones that have been success and grown. You have to have wins to grow, right? But for some reason, we get really focused on on the negatives or, what can we do better? Um, I'm curious to talk a little bit about your culture, right? How big is your team currently?
there are 18 of us,
Okay.
18, and there are 10 in the field. So right now, per our business model, we're a little office heavy, but we know that and strategic reasons, for growth, we're positioning ourselves to be able to facilitate some growth here. We're okay with it for right now.
I got you. And how would you describe the culture at Griffin Plumbing?
I would say we're a mom and pop shop for sure. I mean, we're a super small company compared to a lot of them out there. Uh, but I think we've got a good culture. Help me out.
Yeah, I would say people wake up wanting to come to work rather than like, oh, I got to go into work, which
Sure.
which is what we strive for. Uh, became part of Culture Index.
Yeah,
Um,
Hmm.
use them as a resource.
use them as a resource, and that has really helped understand how we operate personally as well as our team. And we use that for hiring as well.
Is that
Mhm.
not an amazing tool? How they can like hit the nail on the head by just answering some questions and this and that. And we, I was in this group, entrepreneurial organization, it's EO. So they've got chapters all over the country. So I was in Fort Worth, Texas, and then I had a forum within that group that we met once a month. But they came by. They were one of our sponsors. That we filled out this questionnaire beforehand, and they came by in our last in one of our forum meetings and went over the results. And they could hold this piece of paper. And it's got these drawings on or whatnot, and they're like, "Who's this?" And be like, "Jeremy." "Oh, you're blah 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 blah." And you're like, how do you know that? Like they just hit it perfect, right? Your smile of joy. I mean, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, I don't know if I'm explaining it well, but it's been a while. But it just blew me away, like how they could just pinpoint exactly your traits and personalities and your strengths and weaknesses just based off how they go about the little questionnaire. So, you guys use that for hiring? Has it been effective?
We do, yeah. No, it's a fantastic tool. And then circling back every 6 months or so, the entire team takes it again, so we could see where everybody's at. Uh, yeah, I like it a lot, and it really helps us put people in the right seat on the bus. And the idea is right. You have happy people; they're going to do a good job, stick around for a good long time. And circling back to your question on how was our culture, after thinking about this and listening to Joy speak about it in Culture Index, I really feel everybody's happy to come into work and wants to do the best job possible. We're all human. All have peaks and valleys in our daily lives and all of that. But I have no doubt when it comes right down to it, anybody in our company would give their shirt off their back to take care of anybody else. Uh, and they really truly enjoy what they do and want to do the best job possible. So I enjoy coming to work when it's like that. Hasn't always been like that, for sure.
You mean every day you haven't woken up, no, ready to go to work? Yeah. I mean, as business owners, sometimes you're like, ah,
Yeah.
I fight through that sometimes, but then I just kind of step back and remind myself, man, we have this great opportunity to go, write our own chapter, write our own story and make it happen. Yes, it's up to us to lead the troops, but that's a great opportunity, right? I think that's why we're entrepreneurs to be able to have that freedom and then the ability to build a company, build culture, help your employees out. And if I can see the passion when you guys talk about how you in your people want to come to work. So I think that's obviously a testament to you guys too, and how you run the business and just your core values and beliefs and all that. So kudos for that. Cause, I think there's a lot of business owners out there that don't operate that way, and their people are not wanting to come to work and just coming to try to get a paycheck and hoping
Yeah.
something better comes along,
Yeah, and
So
we've had those situations before too, and probably a lot of it maybe was my fault. Who knows? Because again, I'm the emotional guy, but learning how to work through and deal with that. But I really do truly enjoy watching people come in and develop and learn and grow as people. And sometimes that means, let's face it, in our business, in the trades, people move on and leave, and maybe they even do their own thing. Uh, but just knowing that, hey, maybe somebody's better off for having been a part of the Griffin Plumbing team or the NuFlow Central Coast team, it makes me smile and feel like I've done something good.
sure. When you guys are hiring and you're using the culture index, what kind of person fits your company culture?
Uh, Man, what we've got it lined out for just about every position in the company. I would say the ideal candidate for a service technician is going to be somebody who can follow procedures. I'm real big on process and procedures, checklist. Somebody who is a good communicator and likes to speak with customers and cares to listen, but also can move quickly and then has attention to detail. Like you need to be able to have attention to detail doing plumbing service work, right? So
Sure.
that's the ideal candidate. But what's interesting is, we all have our little nuances. And you hardly ever find like the perfect candidate on anything, but that's probably for that position there. And then go back to say like a CSR. For us, you probably want somebody who, again, is a good communicator, is a little slower pace to take the time to get the information from the customer, but truly listens to the customer with empathy and can relate to them and help create the value for what we bring to the table.
Sure. Taking care of the client is so important, right? And just making sure you're meeting their needs. You mentioned too that a lot of times they're calling you with because they've got a problem, obviously, or it could be a big problem. And so to go out and handle, do a good job, take care of great customer experience, it's got to be really rewarding. I know that's happening 'cause I saw your reviews. You've got a great review profile, right? And so people are explaining their experiences and getting a lot of good positive feedback. I wanted to ask you about your two sons because you said they're in the business now, right?
They are, yeah. So we have four four kids total. Our oldest son Jake has been in the business, golly, since he probably was 7 years old. He was crawling underneath houses with me. So we've had some funny stories that we talk about. So he is a major part in the company today, as he is now 25 and really taken on the role of business development and trying to help grow the business. And then our 18-year-old son Caleb, who is our third child, is in the business now full time as well. Graduated high school and is learning the trade. In fact, he just now is on the NuFlow side, learning how to install liners, things of that nature. He just got back from a week's training in San Diego to go through some of their classes. So yeah, we're happy to have them on board. I'm blessed, Joy. We really are with being able to work with our kids. I know it can be a pain point sometimes, and they probably would disagree. you know, they got to see, especially me. They got to see me at work and at home. But I love it. I wouldn't have it any other way, and it's fun to watch them learn and develop.
That's gotta be exciting. You're watching the next generation, right? Get involved in your business. That is a family business, right? So a whole new generation involved. And um, who knows? Maybe one day they'll be the ones buying it from you guys. Who knows, right? Or maybe they go start their own plumbing business because they've learned, what a successful business looks like. So that's got to be exciting. I have two kids. One just graduated from college, literally last Monday in Chicago, and she's big into fashion design. So she's not going to be in the digital marketing space. She wants to be a designer. She's been making her own clothes and selling them, and since she was in high school. And then my son, he is just finished his freshman year at Texas Tech. He is currently in Washington D.C. selling pest control door to door. He is on day 3. And I texted him yesterday. He says, the hardest thing I've ever done. And I was like, I know. We talked a little bit about that. I sold books one summer between my junior and senior year. So door to door in Missouri, and it's the hardest thing I ever did. So, but this is what he wanted to do. So that's the fun. That's the joy I get. Is like this is his what he wanted to do to take something on like that. I'm really proud of him to go out and get out of his comfort zone. And I told him I said the emotional part's going to be harder than the work part because you're just out there on this island and there's just all these emotions go through and you're getting rejected at a high rate. So, but super proud of him. I know we're here to talk about you guys, but when you mentioned your kids, it made me think of him. So I want to talk a little bit. Well, this is for you, Jeremy, because when we talked, you had mentioned that Joy really has helped, bring the company and to run at a much, much higher level.
Yes.
And you said without her, the company does not run the way it does. What does she bring to the business that complements your strengths?
Everything. Like, she's a smart one here, really. Really, yeah, from keeping an eye just on everything from the financials, the accounting, the marketing, call center things. She really, not being in the truck, she has done everything else. And the way I roll, my attention to detail, I bounce around a lot. I I just I don't focus on one thing for too long, where she does. And she can stick with something and see it through. Actually, her personality is, she does a task, she likes to see it through to completion before she starts the next. I juggle about 8 different tasks and barely finish one ever. So that's where she really comes in.
Might be the visionary, and she's the integrator. That's the glue getting things done, right? Or making sure things are moving along as they should.
You nailed it. Yeah. Is that from the book Rocket Fuel? Did you read Rocket Fuel?
Do I?
Was that from the book
Well,
Rocket Fuel?
uh, I had read Rocket Fuel. In the program we took, EOS is very similar concept, same as Fuel. So great program. EOS, Entrepreneurial Operating System. It just gets your whole team, gets your leadership team lined out, gets everybody paddling the same boat. Have a leadership team call once a week. It's a 90-minute, go through the same structure. The big one at the end is issues, and gives you a place to kind of clean the air, and talk about real issues with the idea that you're going to solve them and then forever, right? But great system. If you're ever looking for something very similar to Rocket Fuel too, and that whole concept. I'm curious, Joy, if you don't mind talking a little about marketing, because I'm a marketer, and I told Jeremy it's one of the things I like to talk about.
Yeah.
What marketing channels are you currently doing that you're happy with, that are bringing in not just leads, but quality leads and opportunities?
So, for us, probably our LSA leads, that has been really good. Pay per clicks, we're really down. Cost per click is really high, and just the lead quality hasn't been there for us this year. But it's not always a constant, we're always playing with it to see. And then you just start branding. We worked with a local company years ago that really helped with our branding, with our truck wraps and uh, our billboards. And we were having other resources at the time with TV, radio. We're not running those ads right now. And then as we see this shift of AI, we're working hard to make sure that we're prominent. We come up a lot with that.
So you're showing up like in ChatGPT and
We're
Claude and those type of searches.
That's the idea.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
are you running, like you mentioned, LSA, and those are typically a good lead source. Are you running that yourself? Are you running that in house, or do you have an agency that runs that for you? Or
No, we work with the agency that helps that.
the thing I hear a lot about LSA is, well, I guess one of the big differences, you can't really step on the gas. Google's deciding what ads to serve. So it's not like pay per click where you can really, when you find a sweet spot, ramp up the budget with the idea of generating more leads. Guess the best way to describe it. This was several years ago, and it used to be called Google Guarantee, and then they changed it to local service ads. it's a big HVAC contractor where we were running all of his paid ads. And, in the summer he'd spend, 100 grand and up on paid in Dallas Fort Worth. But with the LSA, he could only spend about 2,500, maybe 3 grand. He's like, I'd like to spend 10 grand, but Google won't let me. So that was his big complaint. You feel the same way about local service ads? Or any time, ever a time where you wish you could spend more to get more leads?
So quality leads, I'm okay with.
Yeah,
With us, before online reviews were really a thing, we had been told, hey, like, you need to make sure that you're getting reviews. And
sure.
so when LSA or that Google guarantee started, we had already had more 5-star reviews than any other company. We were kind of ahead of the game. So we kind of owned that space for a long time. Now our competition is understanding. um,
Sure.
now our focus is understanding what the next thing is. And, before that it was the yellow pages. So
That's how I got my start in marketing, was the Yellow Pages. I'm right there with you on that. I've had to keep up with all the changes as our business has evolved and grown too. I'm real curious on local service ads. Do you feel like Google is being fair in crediting you back, or is your agency? Have you talked to agency about that when it is not a good lead? Because that's the whole premise of it, right? You're only paying for a lead related to what you are servicing, like plumbing. So if you had a lead for a mover, that's obvious. But have they ever mentioned that to you, or hey, you're getting credits or not?
yeah, so we used to get a lot more credits back, and then I think that Google switched the policy, right? I think a
Sure.
year ago or so. Where
Google now uses their algorithm to judge those leads, and they decide if they credit back. In the beginning, you had to listen to your calls and you would initiate that credit, right? So it
yeah,
makes sense. Imagine that when you were doing it, you got more credits. Now that Google does it, you get them, but not as much. That's what we've experienced too. So I would say that's accurate. I chuckle when I talk about Google because we say they're the evil empire. I mean, we know we got to play ball with them, but man, they're a very frustrating company. It's a good segue into AI because I love how now something's finally come along that's gotten their attention, right? Because they dominated search all these years. Bing, which is owned by Microsoft, they print money too, but there's never been a search engine to compete. But now AI has totally changed the game, and Google search is down. I don't think Google's obviously going away. They have their Gemini and their AI model as well. Anything in particular that agencies share with you guys as far as how to show up in these AI searches? We'll just use ChatGPT. I know there's others, but to make sure you're prominent there or have an opportunity to show up.
so there, our understanding is just having quality information on our site. So our blogs and some, where AI is pulling the information.
Sure.
What we find with AI is, somebody will ask what a price of a water heater should be, and it's giving a national average. Well, we're on the Central Coast of California. The cost of living's more. We have the ultra low NOx water heaters that,
Emissions control,
it,
yeah.
so there, it's not really realistic for our area what it's throwing out there. So just trying to communicate and like the communication game on what the difference is in
Sure.
where water heaters are, where we live, what's involved. Um,
Yeah, and you're right. It's scraping from the web, right? I mean, and premium content, I think, is huge because we notice in the early days of chat, we started seeing these leads popping up for us personally, and then we'd see them for our clients. We use a third party tool called CallRail, so that's how we track all of our leads. I'll tell you where it's coming from. Also, we're seeing Chat GPT. So I think just us putting a premium on content all these years, because we always feel like content was king on Google, has helped. It sounds like that might be resonating with you guys too. And then FAQs are really big, really deep, rich FAQs because people are now treating ChatGPT different than Google, right? They're typing these long tail questions. And so if you can have content to match those questions, answer or give the answers, then you've got it. That's definitely going to give you a leg up. And then credibility is huge too. And obviously with the Google reviews that you have and the 5 stars is got to be a help too. So if you're hitting those, then yeah, I would think you should be showing up and getting. Now, what do you know, what's going to change and so forth. And then when are paid ads coming? I heard ChatGPT, well, they're already testing paid ads on their free accounts. We're actually on a waiting list to try and start testing that as well with some clients. So always something, right? But said years ago, I was like, when's paid coming? Because how are they going to, they got to pay for this. These LLMs are really expensive to run. So they got to pay for it. Which kind of thing makes everybody groan. Like, is that going to be like a Google where it just goes up and up and up? Cause you mentioned cost per click. It goes up. Now your lead flow's down, quality's down. So it's always a juggle, right?
Eh,
So,
w-
um,
One thing you had mentioned, the call tracking with call route.
sure.
So we have call tracking numbers on everything. Well, they're saying with the AI, they want a consistent phone number and information. So now, like all of our call trackings with Yelp and Google, our website, all these, we're like reverting back to our main number.
Yeah. To have a consistent name, address, phone number.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we've noticed that too, and that's interesting because you want to have call tracking on different items, and you mentioned Yelp. Do you like Yelp? Do you get lead flow from Yelp? I'll tell you why I mentioned that because I'm just curious what your answer is if
Yelp's
you're a
a
fan of
great.
Yelp or not a fan of Yelp.
So we don't advertise on Yelp, but we have our basic. So I don't know. We have some upgrades for our user name, our company name, um,
Sure,
but we don't use that as a lead source.
I got you. I asked because I typically my experience is I hear a lot of people complaining about Yelp, and I haven't heard it in a while, but for years, it would be, "Hey, can you help me with Yelp?" And I'd be like, "What's going on?" Well, I used to pay Yelp. The comments were I used to pay. I tried their program, advertised for a while, and I had all these great reviews. And if you found me, that all these reviews would show up, and they were all great. And then I stopped paying Yelp, and all my good reviews disappeared. Now, when you see just like my free listing, I just see bad reviews.
Yeah.
But I know those good reviews are there, so I started digging into it, and you're shaking your head, yes, maybe you've experienced that. So, that particular company, I did find their good reviews, but I literally had to drill down. Like, I had to click 3 or 4 times, like, keep drilling down, and finally they were there. And so, it seemed to be a very, very common theme that we heard, almost like, "Pay us and we'll play nice, and you get all your wonderful reviews showing front and center, but if you stop paying us, then we're going to magically display bad reviews and the good ones below." Yelp, if you're listening, I love you, don't come sue me, but I don't did y'all experience anything like that?
So my experience is, and we have thousands of 5-star amazing reviews, and we had focused on this at the early start of the podcast. The negative. So we get that one negative review.
Sure.
I always just try to put myself in that customer's position. Like, what did we do wrong? How can we fix it, make it better? With Yelp, they want the interaction, is my understanding, and there's more interaction when something's negative. So, we'll get those 5-star reviews. They would filter them, and then the 1-star reviews, like, and most of our 1-star reviews, especially when we like really sat back, look, okay, maybe we did do something wrong, and would refund the customer 100%. That 1-star review still stays, that it's not updated. It's just so frustrating that,
Sure.
but so we just said, hey, we're going to control what we can control. We're going to provide 5-star service, do the best that we can for every customer. And if we make a mistake, acknowledge it and do what we can to make it right.
Yeah, that's one thing that I've learned to reduce stress for myself in this business is focus on what you can control. Do the best
Sure.
we can, do the right thing, and then things are going to line out and lay out how they're supposed to. Don't sweat the small stuff.
So
I did a podcast with a guy, great company, the water heater company. All they do is focus on water heaters, repair, replace, but he has made Yelp work for him. So it was really interesting, and he's one of the very few. His podcast is published if you want to listen to his theory on Yelp. But it was very interesting, and he feels like he's kind of found a little bit of a niche there because a lot of people have had such a bad experience with Yelp. But he's a paid advertiser on Yelp, and he gets a good volume of leads from Yelp that helps keep the trucks moving and so forth. He said sometimes they're not the most profitable leads, but a lot of times you go out and service a customer, get lead to another service or this or that. But it was just interesting how he is a big Yelp believer, and he knows how the Yelpers, as I think they call them, right? The people who are on Yelp, how it works and how the game's kind of played. If you're interested in how to maybe to make it work or
Yeah.
learn more, he's a great resource, and he'd probably be happy to visit with you too. Super nice guy
Okay.
as well. Real quick, does Yelp give you the opportunity to give a owner feedback like Google does? If you get a bad review on Google, you can reply from the owner. Do you know? Does Yelp? Okay.
Yeah, we reply to all reviews.
Okay. Yeah. Well, good job there. I'm a huge believer in that. Reply to your good reviews and bad reviews, especially the bad ones, because I think the public, I think there's a lot of crazy people leaving reviews, and I think a lot of them, they've kind of become like almost like ego driven, like, hey, I'm a local guide now, and so you're gonna get a bad review every once in a while, right? You try not to, but to be able to reply back, I think the public gives you credit for that, right? Because you do care. I sat in this whole seminar. It was called "Love Your Haters," and I didn't know it was about review generation. But that's what it was all about, like, why it's important as a business owner to reply back to and give your side of the story. Don't get into an argument with them, but, hey, confirm did we do business or whatever it would be, or show, you concern, and I think the public, if you've got a bunch of good reviews, like, hey, maybe maybe it was a customer that was a little crazy, that was hard to deal with. So if you're doing that, great job. And then he also said, good reviews, reply back to those too.
Yeah.
So interesting there. Well, as we kind of wrap up, let's talk a little bit about NuFlow Central Coast and how that business is growing, and
Sure.
the difference between residential plumbing and what NuFlow Central Coast focuses on.
Yeah, absolutely. So NuFlow Central Coast, we specialize in small diameter cure in place pipelining, and which is anything for us from 1.5 up to 6 inch. So, and within the building footprint is where we really specialize in. So imagine a house or commercial building with 50-year-old cast iron underneath a concrete slab. We can go in there and rehabilitate that, clean it up and get the liner in there and save that system. It's a neat process. I'm super intrigued about it. I was from the day I heard about it, which is actually through another member of CertainPath. Went to their shop, learned about it, spoke with the other people who were involved with it, and decided this is something I wanted to get into. And then ultimately met some folks from NuFlow and jumped in as a licensee at the time. And we continued doing that through Griffin, and then gained some experience and knowledge. There's a big learning curve in this type of stuff. When it goes good, it's great. When it goes bad, holy smokes, it can go real bad. Um, Fortunately, we've had more goods than bads. It's a credit to our team that we've had do this stuff. But credit goes to NuFlow too, is they're fantastic on their education and the team that they have. I've met some really, really good people over there who have so much knowledge in the plumbing industry and then in the small diameter CIPP lining industry. We go to a ton of trainings and just continue learning the process on that type of stuff.
You mentioned the two companies kind of bounce off each other, right?
They
So
they do, yeah. So, we do drain calls for Griffin Plumbing, restoring flow, kitchen stoppages, mainline stoppages. And when we run across those older systems or if there's root intrusions out in the front yard, that's a perfect fit for NuFlow. So we get a lot of leads that way for NuFlow. But now that NuFlow Central Coast is starting to get some traction, that brand, we're getting leads outside of Griffin Plumbing coming for that. Like right now, we're doing a hotel in Pismo Beach. That's a area, real big tourist area, just north of us. So we're working on that, and that's good stuff. So it's interesting, fun. I need something new and interesting to keep me engaged, other than just the standard day to day operations of anything for too long, and I lose interest and start getting fussy. So NuFlow keeps me on my toes.
That's where that visionary mindset comes, right?
Yeah,
And then
yeah,
Joy's gonna say, "Hey, wait a minute, hang on. Let's just focus on the ideas we started 2 months ago or whatnot."
yes.
I know. I'm the same way. I've got lots of ideas. Come home. I do a lot of walking, so a lot of times when my brain starts triggering ideas and I'm sending text messages to myself as reminders and the team's just shaking their head. I just I lost my whole train of thought where I was gonna go with my next question on that. The, did you use the same branding concept for NuFlow? I mean, because you said you rebranded the whole plumbing, which was a big hit, big chain. I really saw the help move the needle. Was that the same concept when you started a new business as far as wrap trucks and things of that
So
nature?
because we were able to use the branding that NuFlow had established already, no, it was really already there. We didn't have to
Okay.
anything rewrite the wheel. And through connections I've made through that side, uh, through other licensees, say in Phoenix, we were able to get introduced through some marketing folks who had worked with NuFlow before, understood what the product, the process was. So it's been a pretty smooth transition as far as that goes. We didn't have to develop anything.
That's, okay. So it sounds like NuFlow is really a good is it franchise model? Is that or is it
No, it's not a franchise. So licensee, where you
licensee? Okay.
see to use the product is, and then you have to hit certain levels of training and experience to be able to use the NuFlow brand, and then you're assigned an area. Really, they do a good job of helping that along and respecting that. And so they're really an international company. I mean, they're in Australia, they're over Europe, Africa, Mexico. Uh,
Okay.
they're based here. Corporate is based here in California in the United States, with the factory being in Canada. So they're all over the place.
Well, it sounds like do a great job of training and helping people like you guys getting into that space because you mentioned a lot many times, in our conversation how impressed you have been with them about different facets of the business and just helping you guys get going in that space. So kudos to them. I've talked to a lot of people in franchise models, and a lot of times there's frustrations with the franchisor. Uh, various, a lot of times it's marketing, but different aspects, not just getting the support or hands tied with marketing and so forth. But it sounds like NuFlow, you've been really impressed with how they run their operation, which is great because you're spending a lot of money trying to get into that space, right? So
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, a lot of resources have gone into it, but yeah, first class operation on their side.
as I want to kind of wrap up, but I'm just curious, what are you guys excited about over the next few years? If you say, hey, 26, 27, going to 28, what fires you up?
You want to drop in or
Yeah. Um,
deferring?
you know, we've always grown um
Sure.
every year, but it's been modest growth. And now that our youngest is in high school and has his driver's license, I think both Jeremy and I are ready for a big push for growth. And we're seeing that come through this year. It's been so exciting. And what, yeah.
Yeah, no, we tell our team, and we're focused on 3xing the company. We are really wanting to grow, and with our kids being grown and Joy being able to focus more herein on the company and help facilitate that, it's exciting. And then with onboarding the right people to help take over a lot of the task, I just really see it's possible.
Growth is always fun and always exciting. And when you go through a whole year and you don't grow or have, basically flat, it's a little frustrating. It's like, man, we worked hard, but we didn't grow. So we've experienced a few of those years. And it's not, it's not the end of the world, but it's a heck of a lot more fun to get to December and look back and, you've had a nice growth that year. I hope 2026 continues to grow and you guys reach the goals that you've set for the year. Couple of last questions, kind of off topic. I've been doing this of late, but I'm just curious. So when I walk, I listen to a lot of podcasts. It's not why I started this, but I'm just curious. Are there any, if you listen to podcasts, if not, maybe books, but is there a podcast you'd recommend to our listeners that you really got a lot of value or enjoyed?
So I do listen to podcasts, but um, they're nothing to do with plumbing. I like the Money Guys podcast.
Yeah, anything, any topic. This is just, could be, doesn't even have to be business related, but the money guys.
Yeah, I think that they're great. The Coffee Hour, I think it is, the Coffee House, maybe. Um, really like that one. And then it's just entertainment. I love Murder with My Husband.
I'm glad it's not murdering my
Yeah.
husband. Could be surprising me.
What did you say, Joy? No, when my wife and I travel, a lot of times we'll listen to the murder mystery or whatever type podcasts. And
They're
just, it's
funny.
amazing how you can, if you kind of get into it, it can kill some time, right? I mean, if we're driving, so, no, those are great suggestions. I've been making a list. Anything, what about you, Jeremy? Are you a podcast guy or no?
I will, yeah. Of course, I like the Joe Rogan one. He's super interesting. But another one is Andrew Huberman. Have you heard of him at all?
No.
Huberman, I can't remember the name of it 100%, but he's a neurologist and he's about my age. Super smart guy and all kinds of cool topics coming from him.
I'll have to look him up. I'll go back and get the name. I didn't write it down, but I'll look him up. Yeah, there's so many out there, right? But it's good to find something new to listen to and so forth. I like Joe Rogan. I've listened to a lot of his stuff. If he's got a guest on, then I'll definitely a lot of times tune in. What about one-liners that you like, sayings that you might have hang on the wall or that you're known to say? I'll give you an example. So you can think of ones. I put you on the spot. One of my favorite is, and this came from my stepmom many years ago. She was like a second mom to me, but she said, Todd, always remember this: the truth requires no memory. And so that's always resonated with me because if you just speak the truth, right, you don't have to remember what you said or told someone. So the truth requires no memory is probably one of my favorites. I'm wondering if there's any that you could share with us, our listeners.
Let's see, PG rated. I heard, the definition of an excuse is skin of reason stuffed with a lie.
What is it?
The skin of a reason stuffed with a lie is the
That's a definition of an excuse. I like that. Joy, do you have anything to share?
Oh, one-liners. Oh,
It
yeah.
can be 2 or 3 liners too. It doesn't have to be one. Do what?
Jeremy's dad, he has so many good
yeah,
one-liners.
he's a master, but I just can't think of any right now.
Yeah.
Well, it's I won't put you. That's fine. That's I kind of put you on the spot there. Last question I always like to ask, because I think there's a lot of young Joys and Jeremys out there that want to get into business, maybe get into the trades. So if someone came to you guys and said, "Hey, I'd love to start a plumbing business," what advice would you give them?
Don't do it. No, no.
Don't do it. Yeah, besides run. No, don't do it.
Are you crazy? uh, I would say find an organization like we did and learn it, learn the business, educate yourself on how to do it. Because if you're gonna do it, you might as well do it right. Spend the time and just to learn.
Yeah, I would agree too, man. Education is can't beat it, right? Just keep feel, feeding yourself with education and ways to make the business run better and smoother. There's so much information out there too nowadays, right? YouTube, podcasts. I mean, it's
Yeah.
Chat GPT. So really no excuse not to go find it and educate it if you really want to jump into a business. Joy, Jeremy, we went a little long. I apologize, but I've been enjoying visiting with you too. I appreciate y'all being on today. Joy, thanks for joining.
Yes.
For our listeners, if they wanted to contact you guys for maybe they've got a pipe issue or a plumbing issue, what's the best way to find you?
Well, you can call us at 805-934-1949 or griffin-plumbing.com.
Okay. And what is NuFlow?
Yeah, that one is NuFlowCentralCoast.com.
Great. And if any of our listeners would love to talk about digital marketing, of course, you can always reach me at everydaymediagroup.com. Joy and Jeremy, thank you so much. Jeremy, once again, happy 50th birthday.
Thank you.
Big celebration here for our listeners with Mr. Jeremy joining the clubs. Great to talk to you guys both. Good luck with the rest of the year. And again, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Todd.
Todd.
See you.